Thank you, His Excellency, for giving time for this interview. I'd like to start with the bilateral relationship. What are the key points or key elements in the bilateral relationship between Italy and Myanmar?
Yeah, thank you so much. It's a really a pleasure, of course, for me to be here with you. I think that Italy and Myanmar have a lot in common, actually. And we have a long history. We are ancient civilization, basically. And we are beautiful countries. We like similar things. We like our families. We like food. We like culture, football. So I think it's something that is good for us. We are together in a very easy way. I think that culture is a very important aspect, in particular because as Myanmar is very full of old churches, you have pagodas, we have old churches, so it's a lot of cultural heritage in Italy, so there's a huge tourist potential. And I think Myanmar is the same, so there's a lot of ancient pagodas and huge tourist potential. I think Myanmar has to do more in terms of develop it, so I think we're going to help you on that. So I would say that the perspective through a cultural prism is very important for us. And then, of course, we have a lot of strong political relations, strong economic relations. But I think the cultural aspect is something very specific to our bilateral relations.
Yeah. How much of that is, when it comes to Italy's engagement with Myanmar, how much of that is for the state to state between the two countries, or how much is that part of the European Union's engagement with Myanmar?
You know, Italy is one of the 6 founding members of the European Union, so we have a very long history. And we are one of the staunchest believers in the project, so it's a fantastic project. And it's a bit complex also. It's not an international organization, it's a supranational entity. So basically, we give some sovereignty to the European Union, to Brussels, and we are together. So when there is a project decided by the European Union, Italy is part of it. We all support the project, so if we have 28 member states which support these projects all together. And consider that 13% of all the EU funds come from Italian taxpayers, so of course we have clearly saying to it. Having said that, of course, Italy and all the other member states have their own specificity, their own expertise, their own preference. So particularly Italy is very active on development cooperation in 3 main sectors, which are rural development, governance, and support to small and medium-sized enterprises, in particular in the field of sustainable tourism and cultural heritage. So you see, we are coming back to what I was saying before in terms of culture and cultural heritage. So we have more expertise on this, so we are sharing our experience on this. So on certain aspects, of course, it's through bilateral means, directly or through UN organizations or through NGOs, Italian NGOs. And on the other aspect, of course, you're supporting also EU activities. So I would say that we work in parallel with them, but when you think about the EU, it's not a separate entity, it's not another delegation, it's all 28 member states that are back in this project. So when we consider the EU support to these countries, not just the EU delegation, of course, but all the embassies we are here, plus the European delegation. So it's a very massive, I think, support, and we are present much more than many people think.
Yeah. When it comes to the economy, can you tell us about the bilateral trade and also services between Italy and Myanmar?
Yeah, I think we are a little bit under the potential we could have. I think we have to do more, and in my mandate, that I think it's one of the priority areas where I'm working and where I want to work. I think we can do much more. Right now, we are in the top 15 in terms of trade partners. It's around 120 million US dollars. We have a surplus about 70 million, so quite significant, but I think we have to definitely more. In terms of goods, we mostly import garment, fish and rice, and we sell more machinery, agricultural machines, vehicles, and some other stuff. Particularly, of course, agricultural machinery are very strong in this country. We have a lot of tractors and a lot of machines. You have to consider that Italy is the second most industrialized country in Europe. It's the second exporter after Germany, so we are ahead of other important member states because we have a strong industry, also traditionally. Now, we had a crisis in 2008, 2009, which lasted a bit long, but we are still very strong. So I think we could do more, either both in terms of trade and in terms of investment.
Last year, there was an Italian products expo held in Yangon. How did it go?
Yeah, this is a good example of the interest of Italian companies. There were around 100 companies represented, Italian companies represented here, and so it was a very positive starting point. Now this year, we'd like to do something more specific because actually that was a more generic exhibition, and I think you need to be more specific, go into the specific sectors. So at the end of the year, in November and in December, there will be two different important exhibitions, one on food and the other one on home construction business. And there, within these two important exhibitions, there will be a specific Italian fair on these two activities. Because of course, I mean, food and home are very important for us, also in terms of exports. So you think about, I don't have to say anything about Italian food, everybody knows it. But also in terms of home design, architects, Italians are very strong. So I think we have to do more, and we like to do more. I have also a very rather ambitious plan on Italian culture, so we are organizing much more activities, and we organize a new program which is called Italy Myanmar 2016, which will be launched in the next few weeks. So I'm sure you'll see much more Italian culture in the next few months.
You mentioned about the ties, like for example, culture, and also like for example football, because Myanmar people also like football, and you have a, so how that is a part of Italy's bilateral relationship that you would like to strengthen for next few years, because there will be different types of relationship, the cultural ties, business, and all others. So how that will be fitted? How do you foresee the relationship between the two countries for the next few years?
Yeah, we would like to have a much more integrated approach. I mean, to try to present Italy as it is. I mean, most of the people here don't know Italy because they haven't had the chance to visit there, and maybe some people think, well, Europe is all the same. Then when they go there, they realize how different are member states, how different are all these countries. So my idea is to try to present Italy in its specificity. So I said before, we have food, we have culture, we have movies, we have architecture. So I want to do much more than that. We are also, we started talks also in terms, just to mention football. We'd like to do more in terms of sports, because sports unites people. Sports is good for children. So we are in talks also with the Myanmar Football Federation, with the Italian Football Federation. We are working, we're trying to have maybe some training activities, some exchanges, because this is part of, creating a stronger capacity. So this is in a way, the sense of capacity building also in this field, because also sport is very important, also economically is very important. So I think all these aspects should come together. So that's the idea of having integrating Italian program and cultural activity to present the country as it is, but considering also aspects such as sports or cuisine. Also the food. I mean, some people think food is just something that you eat just to survive. Actually, it's culture. Also, this is culture. So we are planning to have a very good chef coming from Italy to share experiences. So that's the idea, just to let people in Myanmar know what is the Italian quality of life, Italian lifestyle, and apart from all the industrial activities, all the machinery, all that we can export here. But I think it's a wider concept of what it means to be Italian.
Yeah, Italian government, I think, has been organizing training for some Myanmar government officials, especially I think in the field of industry. Can you tell us about the training programs that you are having in Myanmar?
Yeah, exactly. As I mentioned before, we believe very much in capacity building, because of course we don't want to teach anything to anybody. I mean, we'd like to share experiences. It's not that we are coming here to teach, but we want to share experience. I think we have some experience to share. So capacity building is a key aspect. We have been active on various fronts on this, in particular through UNIDO, which is the UN organization. We are active, we are sponsoring basically, we are financing a program, very interesting program they have, trying to help young people, women, small and medium-sized enterprises to do more. And in this context also we managed to have some training activities in Italy in different sectors, linked particularly to tourism, but also to lacquers in Bagan or to weavers or something else. And then also some Italian companies such as Eni, which is a major oil and gas company in Italy, also finance and training activities also in Italy first from government officials, linked also to rules and regulation in oil and gas specific. And then also on different other aspects, particularly, I'm very glad right now, I'm very proud we are working also basically on a sponsorship for a young chef going to Italy to an Italian very high level cuisine school. So on different aspects also, it's not an international organization, it's a supranational entity. So basically we give some sovereignty. It's also on students, so many other activities. I'm very proud of the fact that we have a Department of Italian at the Yangon University of Foreign Language. So, as I said before, we like to have a wider approach, but in the field of industry, as I was saying, but especially through this project with UNIDO, we are working on that. And we are planning to do more also in the fields of tourism, which we believe is very important also for the future, but it needs to be sustainable tourism, so it needs to be done in a proper way. And also there, so we have some ideas on how to develop this.
I'd like to ask about your opinions on the Myanmar's politics or political situation. You witnessed the recent November elections. What do you think of the elections and also the result?
Sure. I was really very, very happy to be part of the observer mission, EU observer mission, and was a wonderful day, I think, for democracy. I mean, I was there early in the morning, and before 6 o'clock in the morning, you had long queues just so people who wish to cast their votes, old people, young people, all ages, all genders. So I think it was a very, very incredible experience. And I think the results too, I mean, it showed that basically they were, generally speaking, free and fair with some irregularities, but more or less I think they were a very good and positive example of democracy. And also right now what we are seeing right now is you know, step by step, but it's a very positive signs in a good sense, so in a way of democracy, creating a really new transition government, trying to aim at national reconciliation, which is very, very important. You know, this country has a lot of problems. I mean, you can mention many of them, you know, in terms of ethnic conflicts and injustice and no rule of law, no democracy. But now, right now, I think that all the elements are there. So it's a very important step ahead. And I'm very confident that there will be a positive future. That does not mean there will not be challenges, so it's going to be very tough. Very difficult for the new government to overcome all the challenges, particularly because the expectations are so high. And so also when we tell also people in Europe, you have to manage expectations. You cannot imagine that from day one everything will change. But I think some good signals are very important, just to show that things are improving, things are changing, and we need also to give some space to the new government. We cannot expect the new government from day one to change everything. We have to help them, we have to be there on their side just to try to assist them as much as possible. But I would say, more importantly, to give them some space, some political space to go in the right direction. Of course, this is, I think, should be announced today formally, but I mean, the outset of the government is quite impressive. I think it's something very clear, that it's more streamlined, more focused than before, which is, I think, a good sign, with a very strong leadership. And if Aung San Suu Kyi is going to have probably many roles, but maybe then I guess they should find a way to delegate some activity in the future. But in any case, it's a strong signal of leadership. So it's very clear who is going to be in charge, which is, I think, very important for donors, for everybody, for businessmen. So I think in a way we are here to look at what's happening with a very positive spirit and a very supportive spirit.
When it comes to challenges that Myanmar is facing or going to face in future, is there any role that Italy can play, for example, in the peace building process in Myanmar?
Yeah, I think that peace is a crucial aspect, and since my arrival, I've been active in this field, and we are now part of the Peace Support Group, and we are finalizing our participation to the Joint Peace Fund. Why? Because I think peace is crucial for the future of this country. I mean, as I said before, ethnic conflicts have been going on for too many decades. I mean, it's impossible to have a normal life with this conflict. So I think peace is crucial for the new government. So it's a huge challenge. I believe that the new era, the new environment could be positive also in this sense. I think that some of the non-signatories, EAOs, are now more open to the fact of maybe signing the agreement, the NCA of course. And I think that there is a big opportunity not to be missed. So I think the new government has a good chance, a good opportunity, and it has to come to the negotiation table. I mean, of course, ready to listen to all the requests, but I think the way ahead is absolutely possible. Even then, we have to help them. So I think that also the donors, the major European, US, Japan, all major international actors, I think they have to go together to help the process. Of course, it's a Myanmar process. It's not, cannot be led by anybody else than you. So Myanmar people, Myanmar government will lead the process. We are here to support this process. But this is essential. I think it's crucial also for the future because, you know, also when you talk about the future of this country, about the federalism or not federalism, I think you need to share power in one way or another. And so I think you need to take on board all the ethnic groups. So go back to the Bangalore Agreement spirit and just really go deep into it in a very positive way.
When it comes to the transition from military dictatorship that was there for many years to a democracy, how do you view this transition in Myanmar? Which direction that it is taking, in your opinion?
Yeah. I think it's taking a positive direction in the sense that, of course, compared to what we had before, right now we have a much more democratic government. Of course, when you talk about the 2008 constitution, by our standards, it would not be considered an ideal constitution, of course, because in our view, the military should not stay in the role that they're having right now because we have a different approach to democracy. But I think that you need to consider also where we are, and to consider that every country has its own approach, its own path, and its own times. So I think it's up to the Myanmar people, to Myanmar government, to go ahead and find a solution. Of course, I think that the idea will be to change some aspects, because of course the transition to real democracy means that civilian government has to have control over everything, over all military stuff and everything else. So I think there are some more steps to be done, but we are I think in the right direction. That's very important. And of course, then we are going to see also what's happening in terms of cooperation between the military side and the civilian side. And there, I think it's a bit too early to say where we are. But I think the direction is a good one. Also, the attitude of the outgoing government on the elections were very positive. So I think we have to take this credit to the government because they prepare, I think, the process in all this field. And you know, Italy has been very much supportive of the process, particularly since 2011, because it thought that they were just, you know, the seeds for something very positive happening. And so we are so happy that now it's really happening. So I think we were right in insisting in trying to facilitate this process. When some others were a bit maybe more restrictive, I think we did the right choice to be on your side and to help the process of democracy to develop. It's not in one day that nothing is made, so you need some more time. And I need, as I said, I mean, the transition to democracy, it's a path. So you have to go through it, but if you look at Myanmar now, if you look at Myanmar 4 or 5 years ago, it's a completely different world. You know better than me, of course.
Looking into the future, what are your hopes for bilateral relationship between the two countries? Especially, we are going to have a new government in the next few days.
Yeah, I would say that from a political perspective, I'm pretty confident that we're going to have stronger relationship. We are working now on a very high-level visit in the next few weeks. We're very happy about that. It's a strong political signal of support. That's, I think, what you need and what we want to give. So I think this is a very important path. The second aspect is on economic and trade. As I mentioned before, I think we are going to see more people coming from Italy, more investment, more trade. That's what we hear. That's the requests we get now. Of course, a lot of people were a bit hesitant before the elections. They wanted to know the transition, how is it going. Now we're going to have a new government. So I'm pretty confident there will be more people interested in coming over here. And the third aspect, as I mentioned before, on a cultural issue. I think the people-to-people exchanges are growing up. We have an increase of almost 70% of visa requests from Myanmar citizens to Italy in the last year, so compared to the year before. So it means that there is a lot of curiosity also on the Burmese side to know and to come to Italy. We have also a lot of Italian tourists coming here. So this helps also in terms of exchange, in terms of better understanding. And in a wider sense, so when you understand the culture, you appreciate all of it. So if you go to Italy, you understand what is Italian food. You come here, want Italian food. So this is a virtuous circle of quality going up. And I think that's why we are here. So to help this, we had to facilitate this exchange. And I think so on political aspect, economic aspect, on cultural activities, it's very strong. Of course, then we have development cooperation, which is an essential instrument. So even on this one, we are working on increasing our presence here. Myanmar is one of the very few Asian countries that is a priority one for Italy. And so we are very active on the sectors I mentioned before, and we intend to step up our presence also in these fields, in the fields of cooperation. So I think we have four axes of intervention that made me very, very confident about the future bilateral relations.
How about the high-level visits between the two countries?
Yeah, well, we had a high-level visit in the past. We had the President Thein that went twice to Italy. We had Aung San Suu Kyi that went to Italy as well. We had a foreign minister here in 2012, which was one of the first ones to come. We have deputy minister coming here, so we are working on that. So as I said before, we are working on something also in the near future.
Yeah, I'd like to go ask you a personal question. What are you have been here for some time now. What are the key moments that you like enjoying and you are happy, and there are the things that you don't enjoy and not liking it in the country?
Well, no, I have to say that I am really amazed every day. I really love this country. I think it's a wonderful place. I love the people. I love the environment. I love the culture, the sensation I got when I visit around. And what I don't like is the traffic of Yangon, to be honest with you. In Yangon. Of course, when I'm in Naypyidaw, it's the perfect traffic because there's no traffic. But jokes aside, no, I think that I really appreciate all the beauty of the country and the magic of the country. And it's not, I'm not just saying here because I'm in front of you, but also with my friends. And I mean, everybody wants to come right now in Myanmar. I tell them it's a magic place. And particularly when you go outside of Yangon, immediately you find yourself in another world. But I love Yangon too. I think Yangon, particularly downtown, and also around here we have a lot of old houses. But downtown we believe it's really, really a cultural heritage gem. And so that's why we would like to do more. So we are working on that. We have a specific project on Yangon, on downtown, just to protect the cultural heritage. So you will hear more on that in the future.
Yeah. Is there anything you would like to add for our readers and audience?
No, I'm just saying that, of course, your Mizima is a fundamental lecture for all of us. So I'm very happy that you're doing and continue in this way. I'm very happy again to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All the best.